Part 1. A New Plan for Cancer. Tonight begins a new plan. For years we have pursued a powerful but difficult dream in the fight against cancer. We hoped that by engineering a patient's own immune cells, we could teach them to hunt down and destroy tumors, remembering the enemy for years to come. That dream became a reality for some. Lives were saved, stories changed, but the process has remained complex, expensive, and largely confined to a handful of major medical centers. The result is a painful paradox. We have therapies that can do extraordinary things, but only for a very small number of people, at a cost that is simply unsustainable. Now, the time has come to pivot. We must shift our strategy from a bespoke, one-time cure to a sustainable, manageable system of care. We are not abandoning the core lesson. We are building upon it to serve more people, more often, more affordably. The goal is clear: to make most cancers manageable within a decade, not through a single miracle cure, but through a disciplined, scalable way of using what we already know. This is not a promise of a single magical cure. It is a call to build a practical, operational plan. For too long, our most advanced therapies have been treated as one-off heroics. A bespoke manufacturing run, a single high-stakes battle, and then we hope for the best. That is not a strategy. That is a gamble. We need a doctrine. The central concept of this new doctrine is to front-load the most complex, personalized part of the treatment. We will perform one deep, informative extraction at the beginning of a patient's journey. From that single lesson, we will derive the intelligence to guide many subsequent, lower-intensity, lower-cost outpatient treatments. In simple terms, we separate the difficult work of learning from the simpler work of fighting. We do the hard, individualized work once. Then we use that knowledge to drive a long-term, repeatable plan of care. This is a fundamental change in how we think about advanced cancer therapy. We're moving from one patient, one batch, one chance to, one deep lesson, many guided interventions over time. To make this shift understandable, we use a simple metaphor: teachers, students, and messengers. Teachers are where we learn from the patient's own cancer. Students are the standardized therapies we can deploy again and again. Messengers are the signals and boosts that carry information deep into the tumor environment. In the old model, we asked the patient's body to do everything, to be the source of cells, the site of manufacturing, and the battlefield. In the new model, we shift the burden away from the patient and onto our process. We perform one intensive, personalized teacher session to capture the unique blueprint of that person's cancer. We bank that intelligence. Then, instead of repeatedly dragging a sick patient through complex, bespoke procedures, we use what we've learned to guide a series of simpler, safer student treatments that can be delivered in ordinary clinics. The patient makes a single, deep investment up front, one lesson that continues to pay dividends of care for years. Relapse no longer forces us to start from zero. We already know the enemy. We have the map. We can respond quickly and precisely as the disease evolves. One teacher extraction teaches many doses. We personalize the strategy once, then scale the attack many times using standardized components. This doctrine is about more than biology. It is about where the burden lives. Today, the burden sits on the patient's shoulders. Repeated leukapheresis, repeated bespoke cell manufacturing, repeated high-risk hospital stays. Our pivot is to move that burden onto engineering, logistics, and design. We ask the patient for a small amount of blood, a carefully taken sample of their tumor, and the courage to undergo one deeply informative session. From there, we take responsibility. We create a living archive of what we learned, a durable intelligence layer about their cancer. We design treatments that are safer by architecture, with built-in ways to turn them up or down, on or off. We design delivery pathways that work not just in elite centers, but in community clinics. We design costs that can be borne not just by the wealthiest systems, but by payers who must watch every dollar and still say yes. It is a shift from heroics to systems, from one-time miracles to repeatable, reliable care. The details of how we implement this plan, the exact cell types, adapter molecules, and logistics, matter deeply. But they are the work of the next conversations. Tonight is about doctrine. The doctrine says, personalize once. Learn as much as you can about a patient's cancer in a single, well-designed teacher session. Reuse often. Let that intelligence guide many future treatments instead of paying the personalization cost every time. Standardize what you can. Build student therapies that can be manufactured at scale, delivered safely in outpatient settings, and switched on and off with precision. Protect the patient. Keep safety architecture at the center so that powerful therapies are also controllable, predictable, and fit for life outside the ICU. Design for affordability from the start. Do not treat cost as an afterthought. Treat it as a design constraint on equal footing with efficacy. This is a doctrine of discipline, of integration, not isolated breakthroughs, of engineering, not just discovery. To make this real, we need more than a good metaphor. We need alignment, clinicians who are willing to rethink care pathways, hospital leaders prepared to re-engineer infusion suites and outpatient protocols, manufacturers committed to standardized, high-quality production, payers and policymakers who can look beyond single-episode costs to the economics of long-term management. Regulators willing to engage early, so safety and scalability are built in from the first trial. The time for isolated silos is over. We cannot have cell therapy people over here, blood product experts over there, health economists in a separate room, and patients trying to navigate the gaps. We have the components. We have the science. What we need now is the will to assemble them into a coherent, functional system. If we follow this doctrine, precise, safe, and scalable, we can fundamentally change the story of cancer. We can shift it from a tale of acute crisis to one of chronic management. We can give patients not just hope, but a plan. Not a fantasy of instant cures, but a credible path to many more years lived with dignity, stability, and control. We have the strategy. We have the technology. Now we need the collective will to execute. Begin the steady work to make cancer manageable for most patients, for most of their lives, within the next decade. The pivot starts tonight. In our next conversation, we will move from doctrine to design, from the why and the what to the how. We will show step by step how a teacher-student immunotherapy platform enabled by disciplined logistics and safety architecture can cut costs, expand access, and bring advanced care out of the rarefied few centers and into the places where patients actually live. Tonight, we set the direction. Next, we build the blueprint. From here, we move from doctrine to design. We turn hard-won lessons into everyday care, safe, repeatable, and close to home. Access expands, costs drop, outcomes improve. This is how we make most cancers manageable, for most people, for most of their lives.